In today's show, Dalano Banton does it again. No, for real, Dalano Banton did it again. Fourth quarter magic keys a Blazers victory in New Orleans, and Dalano Banton was all of it. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making the show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we're talking about D.B. Hooper. Dalano Banton does it again. He sits for the first three quarters, checks in the fourth, and just gets buckets. You can't stop him. You can't stop him. The only thing that can stop him is that he's not allowed to play till the fourth quarter. That's the only thing holding him back. And then he checks into the game, and dude goes nuts. And it worked on Saturday. It worked again on Monday evening in New Orleans. Holy cow. He's one soft missed three from leading back-to-back victories on his back. D.B. Hooper. That's what we're going to talk about in today's show. Blazers win in New Orleans. We'll do our fastest recap in the West. We'll appreciate Dalano Banton's just majesty. Truly, one of the funniest two-game runs, and if it keeps going, one of just sort of out of nowhere magnificence that really makes you appreciate how fun the NBA is. You just never freaking know. And we'll talk about some stuff that, for the first three quarters, this was a different show. This was going to be a different show. So I will give you the very short version of maybe what that show could have possibly maybe looked like until the fourth quarter happened. Let's do what we do, though. Fastest recap in the West. Blazers go to New Orleans, and the Pelicans don't have anybody. Of anybody. My man Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans says New Orleans missing 6 of their 7 best players. That seems like a lot of dudes to not have on the court. So no DeJounte Murray, he's out with a broken thumb. No Zion Williamson, was a scratch tonight with a hamstring injury. No Herb Jones. No Trey Murphy. No CJ McCollum, and no Jordan Hawkins, who had a 20-point second half in Portland earlier this year to key the Pelicans' one win out of their 3 early season meetings with the Portland Trailblazers. So they got nobody. They got Brandon Ingram and some dudes you might have heard of. The starting lineup: Jose Alvarado, Brandon Boston Jr., Yves Missi, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl alongside Brandon Ingram. And Brandon Ingram said, "Let's go. Get on my back. I'm the best player on the court." And he was early. And the Pelicans jump out to a 30-21 lead after one. They led by 14 in the first quarter, did not trail in the first half. Up 55-48 at the break, did not trail in the first half. Going into this game, I checked FanDuel right before tip-off. Pels were favored by 1, and I was like, that seems wrong. I personally did not make any wagers on it because it wasn't particularly juicy odds, but it's like, this version of the Pelicans that's already lost to the Blazers once and probably should have and easily could have lost the other game to the Blazers in their 2 meetings, and now they don't have any of their dudes and they're favored. And then their Pelicans are up 7 at halftime, and I'm like, yeah, man, this is why you should just often keep your money. FanDuel's sponsoring this podcast, so use your money responsibly because you would have won if you had been bold. But Blazers briefly take a lead, 1-point lead in the third quarter, but still down 3 after 3, 82-79. Not a particularly good game by either team, but it's Brandon Ingram's doing enough. Anthony Simons kind of found his rhythm a little bit in the second half after another quiet start for him, and Can the Blazers win the fourth quarter by 4? Chauncey Billups goes back to an oldie but goodie. He says, Dalano, remember how we were down 21 in Phoenix on Saturday and you came in and damn near engineered a comeback? Dalano said, yeah, I recall that. Do it again. So Dalano Banton starts the fourth quarter, and his first touch, he turns the ball over. He was dribbling up court, getting guarded by Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and JRE knocks it away from him, and he gets a steal. I think Dalano kind of dribbled off his foot on turnaround, or trying to turn around. get across the half court line, and it's like, maybe this isn't the plan. Maybe this isn't the move. He's playing next to Scoot Henderson to begin the fourth quarter. And then Dalano Banton rips off 20 points on 8 of 9 shooting, hit 2 of 3 threes, and the Blazers crush the Pelicans 39-18 in the fourth quarter and win going away. They're like, Banton is throwing alley-oop lobs and taking step-back threes at the end of this thing, and they're celebrating because it's a beatdown, right? Because they win by 18, 118-100. That's your fastest recap in the West. We're going to talk a lot about Dalano Banton here because this is, I don't know that I've ever quite seen something like this. DB, okay, let's rewind. Friday night, Dalano Banton gets in garbage time against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Plays pretty well in garbage time. I think he has 11 off the top of my head. But he plays pretty well in garbage time and he scores, right? And then they're getting kind of walloped again in Phoenix the following night on Saturday. So it's like blowout on Friday night, looking like you're headed for another blowout on Saturday night. And Dalano Banton dang near keys a comeback, right? Like he's just like truly magical in that fourth quarter against Phoenix, had 12 points, and he helps the Blazers engineer a comeback to the point where he took a three-pointer with 40 seconds left that rimmed out, rolled around the rim and rimmed out, just fell over the backside of the rim. Such a soft miss that would have given the Blazers the lead with 30 seconds left. And I think he took it with like 41 and some change on the clock. So like it worked. Like maybe the Suns got lackadaisical, maybe they whatever, but like it worked. The Dalano Banton, like, hey, we just need someone to go get a bucket. Can you go get a bucket? He said, I can go get a bunch. He has 12 in the fourth quarter on Saturday, but like, you know, kind of earned it a little bit in garbage time. Kind of, you know, shows that he can, that in the right role he can have that again. But Chauncey goes back to the regular rotation. He says like, same starters for the first half, the identical rotation that he's been using all year when everybody's healthy, and it's just not working. They can't get enough stops. They turn the ball over a bunch early in this game. This wasn't one of those games where they're getting smoked on the glass. It's just like Brandon Ingram was scoring. Brandon Boston Jr. had a nice night. Jose Alvarado was like outplaying Anthony Simons for the first quarter and a half, maybe first whole half. They didn't quite have it. So Billups did change up a little bit of his rotation in the third. He didn't bring Chris Murray back. He only played 3 guys off the bench in the third quarter, but there was no indication that he was going to like go Banton, particularly like if in this type of thing where it's like play well in garbage time, play well in the fourth quarter to get rid of garbage time, to dismiss garbage time and almost get a win. You'd think like he'd get a random second quarter cameo. Okay, DB, you've earned it. But then when he didn't play in the first 3 quarters, it's like, well, he's not gonna play. And then he checks in to begin the fourth down 3, and I'm like, are you stinking kidding me? Like, is this really like mostly like that? It is silly that's the rhythm of the rotation. Like I don't recall in the decade that I've done this, and I've always been a rotations guy, I don't recall this where it's a guy sits for 3 quarters back-to-back nights and then he went bonkers. He just hooped all over him. DB Hooper. Shout out to Basket Ghoul, a wonderful apparel company that definitely doesn't have the word ball in its title. Shout out to Basket Ghoul for coming up with the name DB Hooper, because it's a great nickname. But DB Hooper's hooping. Like he's just he just makes his moves, gets himself, he did a little hang dribbles. First bucket's a little hang dribble on the left side, finishes with his right hand. Then he gets a little Euro step, that Canadian bacon walk, gets himself and gives the Blazers the lead with a side step from the left side, to getting back to his right hand, his preferred right hand. He goes coast to coast off a rebound, pushes the whole way, and they don't pick him up, and he finishes on the left side, and he just gets a rhythm. And then it's all flowing through DB. Let's talk a little bit more about that and sort of the effects of what it means to Dalano Banton in this game and who else it impacted, because there's ripple effects across the rest of the roster. That is not you only get the minutes you get. It's a zero-sum game with the minutes. Let's talk about who was impacted and what it means in the second segment. Join me there, won't ya? First, though, I want to tell you about Built Rewards. Do you like points? You watch Dalano Banton, you love points. Well, Built has got a whole new way to maximize your points. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, pay your rent and watch the Built points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points toward a flight or a hotel. Stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 plus hotels and properties. All over the place. You can use your Built points. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them toward future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay your rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built points have been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnba. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba to start earning points with your rent payments today. I also want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by Gametime. It's the app that rewards you for procrastinating. It is the place, the number one app to get your tickets to sporting events, particularly if you're getting last-minute tickets. Day of deals. Sometimes you can even get discounts after the games have started. But even if you're not a procrastinator, you can still save money using Gametime. And you can specifically do that because they just got great tools to help you save money, like Gametime Picks. You open up the app, you look at the venue that you want to go to. Say you want to go to the Moda Center, it'll be right there on your phone. You'll see the little Gametime Picks right on your screen. It has the icon, the G icon, and they're curated selections throughout the arena, throughout the venue. They're going to help you save money. It's going to be easier to save money and go see the things you want to go see. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use that redemption code Locked on NBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. All right. Let's talk DB Hooper. So I mentioned he just gets going, right? Like his first touch is a turnover, and he's on a wild heater. But in hindsight, he's on a wild heater. But at the first time, it's like, okay, maybe this Dalano thing, maybe this isn't the solution, right? Because he turns it over. But he doesn't. It's not like it's not like his first possession. He's like, give me the ball, I'm gonna shoot it. In fact, the Blazers score a couple times with him just on the court before the magic really starts going for DB. But once it starts going, hang dribble, get to his right hand on the left side. That little sidestep, little Canadian bacon flourish, righty layup on the right side, moving from the left side of the paint to the right side. Then he gets that fast break bucket. Then he's feeling it, right? So then he pushes in kind of like semi-transition, like the Pelicans are back, but he just gets it ahead of steam all the way into the paint. Two defenders come over, high off the glass, arcing lay-in. All of a sudden the Blazers are up 7. Okay. It is everybody in the building knows that he's going to go score. He's going to be aggressive. He misses a 3, and then the Blazers now still holding on to a 7-point lead after getting a stop. There's timeout of the Pelicans, timeout of the Blazers to get the ball back. Mandatory timeout. The Blazers get the ball back. And they just run a play for DB to go get it. they run a clear out where he catches it at the top of the key, like just inside the 3-point line, above the foul line, but like in the middle of the floor, and everybody stays flat, right? They stay really low towards the baseline and just let him go to work. It's literally just the go cook play. They just gave him enough space and said, these dudes can't guard you. You're too big. You've got it going. You have the feel right now. The basket feels big. Go get it. Easily scores. No problem. Gets himself to the bucket, uses his long strides, long arms, big frame, gets himself to the glass and scores easy money. Then he hits a pull-up 3 out of a pick and roll. The Pelicans score, and he hits a pull-up 3 out of the pick and roll. Like, they go under the pick and roll, and DB at this point he's made 5 buckets. Like, he's 5 of 6 from the floor, and you're going under a screen on a dude that is in there to score, and he says, "Thank you very much," and splashes a 3 out of a pick and roll. It's in between these buckets. I didn't mention. He got a steal, drove the length of the floor, got fouled, made the free throws. Right, so he's 5 of 6. Plus he's made 2 free throws at this point. Like, the dude is he's just scoring. He's just scoring, and now the Pelicans know. And so the Blazers don't go right to him, right? Instead, they attack and they get a swing 3, a baseline drive, kick to the corner, extra pass from the corner, good to great. You go from the corner to the wing 3, and Dalano Banton comfortably steps into one. There was no question in my mind when he let it go that thing was going to be cashed. Doesn't hit the rim. Buckets. And here's what I love. Here's what I really love about this Banton experience. So, like, the hang dribble, the side steps, the funky, like, using angles well and getting left to lean back right because he's big and has long arms. He's a weird matchup for guys. Like, do you put a big guy on him? Yes. Do you put a little guy on him? Absolutely not. Just put size on him and make him shoot. That's the strategy. But they didn't solve the riddle. They don't have enough dudes to really solve the riddle. But so he's attacking the rim. He hit a 3 off the dribble. He hit a catch and shoot 3. So now the Blazers just let him run a pick and roll. And they're not going to go under this damn pick and roll this time. He's got their attention. But Dalano kind of feels that they're not going to give him space. And Tumani is the screener. And 2 guys step up. It wasn't like a full double team, but it was a hedge with both guys. Like, we're not going to let this guy get in the paint. We're going to wall off, show him bodies. He just passes the ball to Tumani Kamara. The Pelicans help because you've got a 4-on-3 situation. Even 4-on-3, like, in the middle of the floor, you got to help. DeAndre Ayton is spaced in the corner. Tumani makes the kick out to the corner. DeAndre Ayton hits the 3 from the corner. Here's your bucket. So that means that you've got 2 shooters on the strong side, and Anfernee Simons and Jeremy Grant, the Blazers' 2 best shooters. Nobody's going anywhere. Tumani Kamara is the screener and the decision maker when you're getting pressure on the ball. And DeAndre Ayton's man, who's naturally going to be a big and is naturally going to help, and he's the weak side guy, so that's the guy who's going to help. Like, that's how NBA defenses work. You know, if you get the catch, DA is going to get a clean look. That's a short corner 3. He hits it, and it happens because of the attention Dalano Banton gets and because of the shooters the Blazers have other places. So you know where the help absolutely has to come from. He's someone who can actually change the geometry with his decision making, because if they're scared of you, if they have some fear, you change the way they have to guard you. That was my favorite play, and Dalano didn't even score. And then they got a fast break, another fast break. He got a steal and threw a lob up to DeAndre Ayton, and he did the thing where he jumps as he throws the lob. He jumps during the dunk, the Trae Young thing. It was really fun. DA dunks on the dunk. DB is all excited. And then for good measure, to cap off what had been a bonkers run, Dalano Banton takes a step back 3-pointer to his right with like 40 seconds. Moving to his right with about 40 seconds left. Cash. And that's how you score 20 points on 8 of 9 shooting in 12 minutes. Over the last 2 games, Dalano Banton has played 23 minutes and 41 seconds, all coming in the fourth quarter. All of it coming in the fourth quarter. And he's 13 of 16 from the floor, 32 points. And the Blazers have won those 23 minutes and 41 seconds by 39 points. 39 points. They are plus 39 in the fourth quarter with Dalano Banton on the floor over the last 2 games. Are you freaking kidding me? 32 points plus 39 in not quite 24 minutes, 23 minutes and 41 seconds because he sat out the final 19 against Phoenix. 13 of 16 from the floor. Missed a three-pointer that would have been a go-ahead bucket. Unstinking believable. A couple thoughts here. One, this is the perfect role for Dalano Banton. I think if you play him in other roles, you don't get the magic. This is what you need. Hey, buddy, go score. That's what his best skill is. Head down, get to the rim, attack. If he's in distributor mode, you're not getting the most out of DB. Like you're misusing him, right? He's not a point guard. He makes too many. When they've played him at natural point guard, he's had too many rough decisions. The ball handling isn't quite there. When you play him at scoring but ball handling wing, so you have other guys who can kind of take some pressure off him. He played with Scoot and with Ambry Simons in all of his minutes. So next to a natural point guard, I don't know. Ambry Simons not that, but next to a point guard, lead guard, maybe I should say, then you get the mismatch. And this was the perfect role for him. It's just the go get a bucket role. It's almost like pick up basketball role. Hey, we just need you to score. Like in the Suns game specifically, it's like, hey, go get us something because we got nothing going. In this game, it's like the Blazers have 79 points through three quarters against just a ragtag Pelicans group, like a pickup game Pelicans group. Some literally dudes they've signed this week, and Jalen Noel, like maybe like a day ago. It's like go give Jalen Noel the business, right? Like, make sure Jamal Cain knows he can't guard you. It's like perfect role for him. I don't think you have to do it in the fourth quarter. That's just like silly, funny Chauncey Billups stuff and like kind of just like a funny trend. I can't imagine it happens again, but if it does, it's amazing, and I hope it never stops. But like, this is the role you need him in a role where you're just asking him to go score. And the thing about Banton is, the thing about the Blazers is Portland is desperate for another creator. I mentioned this in a show last week. Is like they're just desperate for another guy who can go create his own shot. And by that I mean someone who you can give the ball to like 30 feet from the rim, and you say, can you go just get a reasonable shot off? And you know, like, Toumani Camara is kind of getting there, but he's not that. Denny Avdia really hasn't been that. I thought he might be more than that, and I think that's why Denny didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter. Dalano came in. Denny never got back off the pine. Chris Murray played only in garbage time. He played like a minute 50 and when everybody cleared their bench at the end of the game. But like, he didn't play in the third quarter. Those are the guys they're eating into because Chris doesn't have any individual offense, and Denny just has struggled to begin the career, this part of his career, like his Blazers career. He struggled to find how he's going to score and his sort of pacing and spacing on offense, and he's missed layups, which hasn't been part of who he's been for most of his NBA career. They need Delano's skill set. Do they need him to play every single night? I don't know. I mean, if he does this, absolutely. But this is like a bonkers heater that can't continue, right? Like, he's due for a stinker at some point, but hopefully ride the wave forever. But I think a couple things. Perfect role for him. They're desperate for his skill sets. And if you don't ask him to be the lead guard, but you give him primary, like, go score type of attack downhill responsibilities, that's the way to maximize Dalano Banton. Is it always going to be this? No. But was this incredibly fun? And part of the reason that was incredibly fun and incredibly effective because he was asked to do the exact right thing, because he was put in the exact role where he can succeed. Yes, and yes. This was, shout out to DB Hooper. What a freaking, I just did 22 minutes on Dalano Banton. This is incredible. Absolutely just a really fun night and a really fun stretch for DB. And when he does come back down to earth, I'll put the small. I'll barely mention it. I'll just kind of whisper it because otherwise, let's just enjoy this moment because these two games were really fun, and he won them a basketball game and damn near won them another one the last two times he stepped on the court. I mentioned how this was going to be a different show. Let's talk about Toumani Camara, Ambry Simons, and Rob Williams, who was on the active list tonight to close the program, because maybe that was going to be the show if the fourth quarter goes a little bit different. Shout out to Dalano Banton for ruining my plans / giving me everything I could have ever asked for. Before we get there, though, I want to tell you about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. And it's also an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Plus, the FanDuel Sports app gives you everything you need to place live bets while you're watching NFL games. I'm recording this after the end of Monday Night Football, so we're headed to another week of NFL games this season. But say you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Today's show is also brought to you by Hims. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor visits. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything for treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start for free online. Visit today at hims.com/locked-on. That's HIMS.com/locked-on for your personalized ED treatment. hims.com/locked-on. The products mentioned are chewable compound products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. I had a different show plan. DB Hooper had other plans, and I thank him for it. The other show is going to be sort of about Toumani Camara's growth. He was aggressive in this game off the bounce, and he's been shooting the lights out. It's such a small sample size, like 8 games. It's not... I'm just not going to say, oh, he's figured it out. I'm just straight up not comfortable with that yet. But here's what I will say. At the end of last season, for the final 39 games of the year, Toumani Camara shot north of 37% from 3 on 2.2 attempts per game. 2.2 attempts per game, above average shooter. And I mentioned a million times over the offseason and in my season preview of him is that if that's real, Toumani Camara is not just an intriguing young player, he's just a good player. He's just good. Because if Toumani Camara can shoot and defend like he defends and rebound, offense rebound like he rebounds and just like play with the verve and the energy and sort of the consistent, you know what you're going to get type of production, he's just a good player. He's a role player that helps every single team. And then once you do that, once you can check those boxes, I can shoot, I can defend, I offensive rebound, I play hard. Then you can build the package, right? Then all of the other special stuff that maybe people don't see coming, you're able to sharpen your skills. Once you can check all of those boxes, you're able to sharpen the other skills. The playmaking, as a pick and roll playmaker, I really am intrigued by Toumani. I'm really intrigued by it. I like him as the screener who then gets to make decisions. I think that's a really interesting role for him because I think he makes good decisions there. It's not a great passer off the bounce, but a see the floor, read the floor, quick decision making as a pick and roll guy, as a roll man. I like it. I'm intrigued by it. And in this game, his handle isn't crazy, right? Like he's not throwing out a million dribble moves, and it's not even that tight, right? Like it's not even like he's busting by people, but his willingness to put the ball on the floor and use his physicality to get where he wants to go, and then he's left-handed, so sometimes that surprises people. He had a play today where he dribbled to the middle of the court. He kind of Jeremiah Robinson-Earl kind of like looked like, oh, you're going to give it back to Jeremy Grant, and as soon as Robinson just like shifted his hips, he kind of just vacated the spot. Toumani said, "You dummy," and then he just crammed it on. Like he said, "Cool, fine," but he did it because he kept the dribble alive, right? Like he attacked with. He did not drive into the paint to score. He drove into the paint to make someone react, and he was probably going to make a pass. They made the wrong reaction, but because Toumani was aggressive in getting to the spot and because he didn't pick up his dribble, he got a free dunk out of it. shooting the lights out, dribbling better, doing all the other Tumani stuff that he does. I think this was like a legitimately good Tumani game. Okay, Anthony Simons. We're doing the super abbreviated version of this, of what was going to be a 30-minute show. Ant struggled again to begin the game, but he got going a little bit. And I was perusing this because I was kind of doing some research to talk more about Ant's struggles. And obviously, the three-point shooting hasn't been there. The pull-up shooting off, particularly the shooting off the dribble, the thing that like actually makes him dangerous as an offensive player, just hasn't been there. He was shooting 31% from three coming in this game. Like, and if Anthony Simons is a well below average three-point shooter, he's a bad basketball player. Like, his path to being an impactfully positive player is being a high-volume, high-efficiency three-point shooter, and he has been that, right? Like, he's been, that's what he has been for the most part when he's had the ball in his hands over the last season and a half. He just hasn't been at all to begin this season. So I was kind of like, okay, when do you start worrying about Ant? But really, beyond the three-point shooting, the thing where he's actually dropped off the most, and I think your eyeballs have seen this, but the numbers back this up too, is that he's just really struggling in that like short mid-range area. Cleaning the Glass calls it from 4 to 14 feet, but looking at his shot chart, it's more like between 4 and 10 feet. All those runners, those little funky off the wrong foot hooks, the push shots, the little floaters where it's like a half jumper, but he jumps off a weird leg to get himself a little bit of space. Those, his rim frequency is about the same. His rim finishing is slightly better than what it was last season. He's not a great rim guy, but it's not like he's fallen off there in terms of getting to the rim or missing shots at the rim. The thing that he's done is not made those little floaters. The floater game that made Anthony Simons like a viable guy who could attack the rim hasn't been there. That's where he struggled. And to my eyes, I believe that. I feel like he's just getting blocked. I feel like he's getting in too deep and getting blocked in there. And then against the Pelicans in the second half, Ant was a lot better, and a lot of that was because he was getting to those spots. Now, like, am I excited that he like could easily get around the Brandon Boston Jr. Daniel Tice pick and roll? No, I don't think that's that meaningful. But he just needed to see the ball go in in the spots he gets to. Second half, Anthony Simons scores 14 points on 6 of 10 shooting. He had 10 in the first half, and he was just a lot better after halftime in terms of getting where he wanted to go. He wasn't like bad in the second half, just kind of quiet. They were bad in the first half, just kind of quiet. Like, he had 10, but it wasn't like a 10 where it was like Anthony Simons getting to where he wanted to go and scoring. It was like, yeah, he gets to shoot. He shoots a lot. He's one of the dudes who shoots a lot. He'll get his points. He wasn't even inefficient, but it wasn't allowed. I thought in the second half he looked better. Finally, Rob Williams on the active list tonight. Nearly a year ago, he played his 6th and final game of the season, sustained a knee injury that required off-season surgery, and it has been a long road back. Rob Will upgraded to questionable on Sunday evening after I recorded. Come on! I recorded early in the day. They announced it at like 6 o'clock. I had no shot at it. I recorded at like 10 a.m., maybe 11 a.m., but still. But from questionable to probable to active just before the game. He was in a jersey on the bench, did not get into the game. They played a minute 50 of garbage time. It would have been really insulting to put him in that then. So I'm not surprised he didn't play there. But I think we will see him. They play their next game. They don't play Tuesday because nobody in the NBA does. The NBA takes off election day, which I think in some states where you vote in person, like I know the Hawks have held like a voting, they've been a polling place in Atlanta, but like in Oregon, we have mail-in voting. We don't vote in person. Many Oregonians I know have never voted in person. I grew up in a place where you vote in person. So like, it's a little taking election day off is a little weird, but I guess it's fine. It meant that every team in the league was playing on Monday nights, and the Blazers had a very strange 8:30 local time tip-off in New Orleans, and that arena was empty. Everybody injured. 8:30 tip-off on Monday night. Nobody's there. That's just a brutal sell for the Pelicans. But the Blazers don't play Tuesday. They don't play Wednesday. Then they play back-to-back. No way Rob plays in both those games. But I bet we will see Rob Williams in one of the next two Blazer games make a brief appearance. I bet he'll play one 5-minute shift and we'll get to see him, and it'll be nice, and it'll be hopefully it'll give us the good feels, because Rob Williams, if he ever gets back to being a guy who can play a bunch, he's a really good basketball player. But they're going to be cautious with him, small steps, and if he plays, it means that probably Donovan Clingan does not play, and that's a weird thing for a team like the Blazers. That's a weird decision for a team like the Blazers to have to make, but it's probably how this ends up working one way or another. Okay, that's going to do it for today's program. Tell a Dalano Banton fan near you that the truth has finally arrived. Fourth quarter magic. I appreciate you listening. Come back for tomorrow's show. It's what we do 5 days a week wherever you get podcasts, and also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.